Hello dear students. In today's lecture we are going to discuss types of fossils under the paper diversity and systematics of gymnosperms. As we have already discussed the topics geological timescale and the process of fossilization. So now you are conversant with few words regarding geological timescale and the fossilization process. So today's topic is types of fossils. We have already started the how the process goes on, how the fossils are made, the plant fossils in particular. So types of fossils according to the way in which the fossils get preserved and on the basis of nature of fossilization, the fossils are classified into following types, that is compressions, petrifactions, impressions, cast, compactions, amber, actual remains of hard parts, leaf coal or paper coal, chemical fossils, pseudo fossils. So we are going to discuss these all one by one. So number one is compressions. These are perhaps the most common type of fossils, and in this case most of the organic matter of the plant is preserved with the impression of the plant because of the vertical pressure of the sediments over that plant material. So the buried plant or plant parts are highly compressed due to the weight of sediments lying over them. Such fossils occur in the form of carboniferous layer in between the sediments, and they do not show the structural details of the cell, so they are very good for studying the external morphology of the plants. And coal is complex compression formed by an extensive accumulation of plant material which is slowly compressed in the basin of water. So coal is a very good example of this compression. So differential pressure cause formation of different type of coals. So if we think that there is a 15 feet thick half rotten tree trunk, it has branches, it has leaves, it will produce approximately 1 feet thick coal layer. And if we do the thin sectioning by grinding the coal or by maceration technique or film transfer technique, we can see the presence of cuticle, bark, the resin, etc. They can be studied. But most of the carbonizations are the result of compressions, and the largest percentage of coal was laid down around 250 million years ago in the Carboniferous period. And now I take you to the diagram, or you can say the sketch over there on the slide. It is the image that shows compressions of lepidodendron cone. So if the compressed plant organ is thin and flat like leaves, then there is not much change in its shape. It gets impregnated, it gives compression on the surface, on the sediment. So this is the most common type of fossils. And next are petrifactions. They are also called as mineralized plants. Those fossils which preserve both external form and internal structure, these are called as petrifactions. In them, every cell of plant tissue is preserved perfectly, distended as if living. It looks like a living and providing sufficient information. So they are also called as mineralized cellular preservations. So as you can see on the slide, the left top left diagram, it is a petrified stem within a coal ball in a coal deposit. It is the surrounding rock. You can see the labeling coal ball petrifaction, and then there is secondary xylem and primary xylem. So when we cut open such fossils that are found and we see the study the structures behind them, then we find the cellular details also. So it is very good type of the petrifactions are good to study external form as well as internal structure, whereas compressions are good for external morphology only. So how they are formed? Here organic matter is replaced particle by particle and volume by volume by mineral matter. So mineral matter, it can be calcite, it can be silica, it can be pyrite, and there are approximately 20 mineral types. है ना? Besides substances like carbon, carboxylic acid, hydrogen sulfide, etc., they are formed. These things are formed like carbon, carboxylic acid, hydrogen sulfide. When there is disintegration of plant tissue, these are formed and they are helpful in precipitation of insoluble petrifying agents. If there are pyrites present, as I have wrote in the slide, then these pyrites are made insoluble by the disintegration of the plant tissue, or we call from which the fossil is being made. So these fossils also show several substances like cellulose, lignin, which are also present in living plants. Petrifactions are rare but are the most suitable for the study of structural details. So infiltration is followed by precipitation. Calcium carbonate, magnesium carbonate, ferrous salt, silica, they get impregnated within the plant tissue. So examples are silicified woods, stem, twigs, seeds, sporangia, coal balls. They are important petrification. And on top right, you can see the transverse section of sphenophyllum stem from a section of coal ball. Then we can see there are fragmentary details of the fossil material within the rock, and in the center there is coal ball petrifaction showing the structures present over there. It is a transverse section of petrifaction of sphenophyllum for a fossil. It's stem type. So actual process of petrifaction is not well understood. It is thought that the buried plant material absorbs mineral solutions like carbonate, sulfate, silicate, phosphate, etc. And infiltration is followed by then precipitation, so that calcium carbonate, magnesium carbonate, silica, and iron sulfide, they get impregnated within the plant tissue. Although most of the organic matter is destroyed, but at least some original cell wall compounds remain and make whole structure it look like a stone. So they preserve every cell of plant tissue. So these are type of fossils called petrifactions. So next are impressions. These fossils are just impressions of plant or plant parts on sediments. They do not contain organic material as we discussed in compressions. These are prints, simply prints formed by plant or plant parts which come in contact with the soft clay. Now you see that the sketch over there, it is impression on print, and it is impression of neuropterus leaf. So how it is made? It is like in a dorsiventral object. When we discuss a leaf, it has two faces, abaxial and adaxial. It is called as dorsiventral object. The carbon of regional tissue is oxidized and only impression is left. So this fossil can be used to study epidermal surfaces, the cells on the surface, the stomata, the veins. We can study these structure from impression type of fossils, and it is a negative print actually. Whatever actual material is in the making of fossil, so the fossil record is a negative print of actual material, and the actual plant material disorganizes, and impression is left. Then clay is converted into rock and resembles with the part preserved. So it is darker in color than the surrounding rock surface. They look very beautiful and are extremely useful in study of external features of plant parts like stem, leaf, flower. Epidermis remain intact, so stomata are clearly seen. The only one drawback is there that the cellular details are not left, so it is not good for the study of internal structures. So these is impressions. Next is cast or incrustations. They are the commonest type of fossil suitable for morphological study of fossil plants. In these, internal structure is destroyed, but external form of plant is preserved as a cast. Now you see the diagram, the sketch, the cast of stigmarian stump. It looks like the original plant type, but it is a fossil. So plant or plant part gets covered up by sand or mud. Then the covering sediment of the mold becomes hard, and the plant material inside rots away. It gets disintegrated and leaving a hollow space. And then that space previously occupied by the plant organic material is now represented by a hollow space and gets filled up with the rock minerals, rock materials like carbonates, so the surrounding in that area. And now then inside and outside solidifies into a stone like form, which in which the external part may be peeled off, and exact cast of the plant part will be with all the surface features is left. These fossils do not contain original organic material and do not show cellular details of the plant. So cast is a perfect replica of original specimen. If we say it forms as the same replica as the original plant specimen was there, and surrounding material of the mold forms incrustations, while the rock material surrounding by incrustation is known as cast. So cast of whole trunks, stumps, seeds are usually formed when the plant part decays. You can see the sketch. Cast of stigmarian stump is an example. And next is compaction. These are also called mummified plants. These are plants or fragments compressed by vertical pressure. When the plant part or the fragment, they are covered again by layers of sediments over them, then the vertical pressure is maintained. So masses of plant fragments without intervening matrix are all compactions like peat, lignite, coal. Some plant structures like leathery leaves, hard fruits, seeds are preserved in mummified forms. So chemical substances can be infiltrated, they get entered into such fossils, and sectioning can be done to do the microscopic study. Next is amber. These are resinous excretions of certain fossil conifers. So when there is some injury to the tree of the conifer trees, they exude resins like pinus, and that injury cause the exudation of resinous material, and that resinous material then finally these often fall on forest floor, and they gradually hardened, get accumulated over a long period of time, and the final shape taken by those resinous excretions is called as amber. So small insects, animals, small plants, pollen grains, they get preserved in this resin. So amber is considered as a type of fossil. So last four are actual remain of hard parts. So when there are some hard parts like bones, like teeth, shell, or woody tissue, as they are resistant to decay. They are not easily decayed by the fungi, the bacteria, or autotrophic digestion. While soft parts are destroyed, these fossils remain embedded in the sedimentary rocks, and they form the fossils as they are very hard. They are resistant to decay. The eighth one is leaf coal or paper coal. These are thin dead leaves dispersed in organic matrix. Inner tissues of leaves are destroyed and there is layer after layer of cuticle. And ninth is chemical fossils. The chemicals like amino acids, chlorophylls, hydrocarbons may be found in free form in rocks or in petrification. So actually any organism connected with the ancient organism is considered as fossil. So diatomaceous earth is a skeleton of billions of diatoms at the seabed. If we discuss about graphite, it is a carbon of organic origin used in lead pencils, algal limestones, petroleum. These all are examples of these chemical fossils. They are fossils. Then last one is pseudo fossils. So whenever sometimes the rocks they take the shape of some plant or plant part or animal, and during their formation and appear as fossils. But when we do the paleobotanists, they do the internal detailed study, they clearly indicate that they are not plants or animals, but they are just structures which are mistaken for the plants or animal remains. So they are called as pseudo fossils. This is all about the type of fossil, dear students. Now next we will be discussing about the general characters of gymnosperms. So thank you very much. Thanks a lot.